Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a sci-fi movie review and we have a look at Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Once again starring Mel Gibson, obviously the third movie in the kind of the Mad Max original trilogy. And this one also starring Tina Turner. So Chris, give us a quick rundown of the plot.
In this one it's, I gather it's probably 10 or so years on from when we last saw him in Mad Max 2. And by this time he's really kind of like become like a savage, really, to be honest. And now he's donning like long hair and stuff, and he happens to scavenging around, and he happens to fall upon this sort of city called Bartertown, where you have to like trade goods for other goods, and eventually he's They see him, and the leader of this Bartertown is played by, I can't remember her character's name, but she's played by Tina Turner, and she sees Max and likes what, the skills that Max has got, so she puts him into it's like
an arena.
Yeah, like an arena, and they fight to the death, and once you do fight to the death.
Two may enter, one will live.
That's the one. And then basically it's Thunderdome, that's what's known as Thunderdome, but then he is one of the only people that actually survives Thunderdome, hence Beyond Thunderdome, and eventually leaving there he hooks up with like a load of kids, doesn't he?
Mm.
And they think he's some sort of dead, like a ghost or something, and eventually it's kind of, similar to the second film where you kind of have the nice chase scenes again, and that's the basic premise. Again, there's not massive plot to it, but it kind of chugs along quite well.
So this one was really a Hollywood production rather than the kind of
the budget is definitely
financed. The first two sort of movies really, and a kind of a lot more glossy than the kind of the original sort of films. For me, what did you think of it?
I didn't like it as much as the second one.
Yeah,
but it's probably more entertaining than the first one.
Mm.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's as good as the first one in the story plot, but
I liked this movie up until the kind of once he kind of leaves Bartertown, whatever. To me, it falls apart.
Mm.
So I like it up until that point, and the bit with the kids, it just kind of, it just goes in a different direction if you ask me, and it just feels like a different film.
Yeah,
I've got to say. So it was okay. I mean, it's nice to sort of see. It's quite interesting to see Tina Turner in this. She's kind of almost like fairly iconic in this role. I think she's kind of.
And I think by this stage, Mel Gibson, his sort of superstar status had escalated a little bit. He was a bit bigger, wasn't he?
Mm.
By this point, he'd done a lot of films in between the last one and this one. So it was more of a, like you say, there was more of a Hollywood kind of, which possibly might have ruined it a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think it was a bad effort, but I think it didn't quite capture the excitement of the second movie and that kind of raw, sort of visceral violence that you kind of felt that was in that world. And it just seems a little bit more kind of, almost seemed like a B-movie version of itself, the kind of the Mad Max. I know it's a relatively, really reasonably high budget movie, but nonetheless, I couldn't help but almost feel it was almost sort of a rip-off of itself in a kind of lot of ways. I like the way they kind of aged up, Max. He looks, they give him a bit of grey hair and stuff in there and there. So I kind of like the fact that they were kind of acknowledging how this sort of the world is kind of progressing, and the people in the world are.
You're right. It works on the level where from the beginning of the film to sort of up to the bit with the kids, like you say, and it goes on a tangent until the end again. And in the end, you get like this. Basically, it's a similar chase scene to the second film, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what happens in the end, but if they die or whatever.
So obviously we've got the Mad Max kind of remake / reboot starring Tom Hardy coming out at some point in the next year or so. So we'll see how that one compares to the original three. But what would you give this one out of 10?
of 10, probably 7.
Yeah. I'm going to give it on par with the original Mad Max a 6.5. What did you think of it? Leave us a comment and I'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.